Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering like what it is about Christianity that makes their metalcore the best metalcore,
Oh yeah.
right? All right, we're on our way. You enjoying the California winter?
Oh yeah. It's nice. It's been very gloomy out, but it's been nice having like not freezing like last year.
Yeah, it's gonna be even warmer next tomorrow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yeah. I grew up in California, so I'm just like, this is what I'm used to.
Yeah. How is California? I've never been there.
Oh, it's wonderful. You should drop everything and move there immediately.
I will keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I mean, it's expensive. That's one thing, but like, so is all of existence. So
Yeah.
might as well have sunshine.
Yeah.
It's great. I think people don't realize how big it is. Like Illinois is a giant state, also.
Yeah.
California is a very similar thing. Like it takes about 8 hours to 10 hours to drive from the bottom to the top.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's huge. It's a gigantic state. And what I love about it is it literally has everything. Everything. I say California is its own little America. Like Bakersfield, California is the Texas of California, right? And so, San Francisco, Redding, all that stuff, the north area is that's the Washington of California. The New York of California is, LA or San Francisco, depending on it, right? There's little versions of it.
Yeah.
Which is what I like. It's kind of a microcosm, if you will.
Huh. Oh, that's pretty cool. I never knew that. I've never been there. I've never done much like kind of looking into California, so it's kind of cool knowing there's like a lot more to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's really great. A lot of tourism, a lot of cool stuff to see and do. Again, everything we want. If you like road trips, it's only 36 hours of nonstop driving. So
Seems like it's like a pretty place too. Like there's a lot of like kind of nature kind of.
absolutely. Like moving here from there, it's a shell shock because it's flat here. It's so bleak and flat.
Yeah.
It's also pretty much evergreen most places in California. So like all the trees have leaves, like all of them. It's green. It's not this yellow gray color in the wintertime.
Yeah.
So that can be nice at least.
There's a good music scene in California. That's one thing I know.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was a musician for years. So yeah.
What type of music did you make?
I was a drummer for a Screamo band.
Oh my, that's so cool. I love Screamo.
Awesome.
Like,
who are some of your favorite bands?
probably like Orchid, Combat Wounded Veteran. Seisha's really good.
Seisha, okay. Yeah, these are newer bands probably.
Oh no, these guys are from the 80s and stuff.
Oh, then these are bands I never
80s, 90s, yeah.
Really? That's like at the beginning of Screamo then.
Yeah, it's like emo violence, like really heavy stuff. And Orchid just got back together after 20 years.
Whoa, okay. So now I'm gonna have to check them out because I've never heard of them. That's cool.
Oh yeah, they're amazing.
Yeah, so I like Circus Survive, Seosin, Dance Gavin Dance,
Ooh,
Norma
yeah.
Jean, right? Like that type of 2003, Screamo.
Yeah.
Post-punk.
Do you know the Blood Brothers?
No, who are they?
So they're a post-hardcore band. They specialize in this thing called sasscore, where it's like I consider like a sister genre to Screamo in a way.
Okay.
It's like a very flamboyant like form of post-hardcore pretty much.
Ooh, interesting. So it's just like really like chaotic and violent.
Oh,
like, with the music
exactly,
that comes out?
yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And the modern day sasscore bands like See You Space Cowboy.
See You Space, I love that Cowboy Bebop. That's cool.
Yeah, it's they're a sasscore band. And they mix it with metalcore.
Sure.
And it's really good.
Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering like what it is about Christianity that makes their metalcore the best metalcore.
Oh yeah.
Right? So it's like it's interesting when you find it that way, but like if you can find like good metalcore mixed with something else, it's amazing. As a drummer, like to me, in my opinion, that's the best drumming. Post-hardcore, metalcore, it's just the best drumming out there.
Yeah, and like probably mathcore and math rock too.
Oh yeah. They have like those wild timings, like 1735.
Yeah.
Like, here we go. We're gonna put it. Okay, fine. Yeah, it is. It is a lot of fun, definitely. So, what do you play anything or?
I'm actually I'm like in a Midwest emo fifth wave emo band.
Awesome. I mean, yeah, good for you. That's the thing to do when you're here, in my opinion.
Yeah, if you're gonna be in the Midwest, might as well participate in the music scene.
It's specifically a fifth wave emo core band.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the only one.
Yeah, like fifth wave emo. That's what I really like it, just because it's like newer, like from 2019 and beyond.
Yeah.
It's been such an interesting scene, honestly.
Sure, and honestly, I just don't know where to like go into it. I love new music. I'm not one of those people that's like, it's not what I listened to, so I don't like. I'm just like, show me the new stuff. What are people turning music into nowadays? That's the stuff I love.
Yeah.
Do you play anything in it, or?
I'm the guitarist.
Cool. Okay.
I do. Here, let me unplug my headphones. I don't have any music on, but I can like play like a riff I created.
Awesome. Oh, I'd love to hear that. Very cool. Yeah, drumming is like my thing, but I started with guitar. I was playing guitar like 10 years old.
That's really cool. Yeah, here, I'll pull up there's this really good one. I was like trying to come up with like shoegaze kind of riffs, right?
Cool, shoegaze is great. Nice.
And I was just like, this sounds really good, but if I instead had it in just standard tuning, and I actually have a Nashville strung guitar, which is just a 12 string is, right?
Right, yeah.
It's a 12 string, but without the deep strings. It's just the lighter gauge.
Okay, interesting.
So here's what it sounds like.
Oh, dude, yeah.
And then it gets into like this really cool tappy part for like the chorus. And I was trying to go from like a dowsing kind of vibe, like Gengar kind of vibes.
Okay.
So that's the whole thing.
That's cool. That's great. And then you're gonna you do in your band like jam with stuff. You go, hey, I created this riff.
Yeah.
Let's see what we can make out of it.
Yeah, like right now we haven't released anything yet.
Mm-hmm.
We just recently got together like November.
Oh, nice. Okay, so yeah, you just got a ton of practice and get together.
Exactly. Yeah.
Stuff.
Like we're coming up with this album concept called The Idea of Roses.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be about like just kind of like betrayal and stuff, like the feeling of betrayal.
Sure.
And concepts kind of surrounding it.
Sure. Oh, that's amazing. Do you have a band name picked out yet?
Bloodsuckers.
Bloodsuckers. Oh, dude, that's great. Okay, cool. That's great.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can get decently like into the scene and stuff. I know some pretty cool people in the fifth wave emo scene. Like my friend Connor.
Mm-hmm.
They're from Salt Lake City.
Okay.
And they have this project called what's it called? I spent 6 hours watching shock videos yesterday. It's a long name.
Oh, wow.
But they're really good.
That's the band name. That's awesome. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I love that. Like every now and then you get capitalism in the fall of deceit, and this is why we are this way. And like that's the band name.
Yeah. How do you feel about power violence?
Is that like a type of music?
Yeah.
I've never listened to it.
It's really good. It's like I'm sure you're familiar with like hardcore and crust punk, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like hardcore. It started with like Capitalist Casualties, Spaz, Drop Dead, and it just speeds up hardcore, but also slows it down.
Interesting.
It's
so like the breakdowns are like really slow, but
it doesn't actually have. It depends. If you're talking about earlier, it kind of depends what the band's influence is.
Okay.
Early power violence does not have breakdowns.
Okay.
It is completely like Black Flag style hardcore. Just imagine if it was on crack or cocaine.
Got it.
It's just really fast,
cool.
really abrasive, but also sludgy. Like the tempo slows down really like fast.
Yeah, see, that's what I like. Where like with the really getting real sludgecore, sludgy stuff in the middle of fast tempo. So they combined that a little. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's like it kind of does that whole thing. But there are bands like Zulu, Sex Prisoner. Those bands like are modern power violence bands, but they do have breakdowns.
Sure. Okay.
That's really good. Let me text the person I'm about to see them on the way. By the way, I should probably do that.
ETA is about 13 minutes.
Gotcha. I'll let them know. Yeah, I started out like I still go to punk shows and stuff, but I definitely started out in like the punk scene.
Sure.
So that's definitely a lot of my influence, you know.
Nice. Yeah, that's what I love. It's like there's still that classic stuff, right? Punk's around since the 70s, and then it's like, well, what did punk turn into?
Exactly.
Right? Metal, what did it turn into? Rock and roll, right, from the 50s, and then what did it turn into? And it just keeps being these branches. I was talking to, I do comedy and I'm a comedian. I was listening to this podcast with some comedians talking about how all artists are in some way giving an homage to the artists that they like, and you can't help but put your own flavor on what it is that you're doing.
Yeah.
And what it is you're creating.
Like, I saw this one Motley Crue, like, Poison, like, tribute band one time, right? Because I used to live back in Morris with my dad. And it was like, that they're doing a cover.
Yeah.
But you can definitely tell there's something interesting there that those bands did not have.
Sure. By the way, congratulations on getting out of Morris.
Oh my God, thank you. Oh my God. It was a rocky story. I had to move there to live with my dad. Then my dad kicked me out, actually.
Gosh, yeah.
Morris, it's a place.
Absolutely. But anyway, so you were saying, so we were talking music. What was it?
It was like a Motley Crue kind of.
There we go. Yeah, Motley Crue band, cover band. Yeah.
Yeah, and normally I'm not a fan of glam metal. I think it's at its core just kind of gimmicky.
Yes, sure.
And so I'm listening to it. I'm like, this guy's playing with his tongue. He's using the back of his guitar with those springs, and this is stuff I've never seen Motley Crue do. I've never seen Poison do. And it's interesting because he's doing all these things and he's adding stuff to the solos. It's just like you can tell he has his own flavor to it.
Yeah, that's what Hendrix did. I taught myself how to play with my tongue because of Hendrix.
Ooh, that's really cool. That is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. My favorite guitarist right now has to be probably Tosin Abasi, honestly.
Tosin Abasi. Who does he play with?
Animals as Leaders.
Animals as Leaders. Okay.
They're like a gen prog metal band, and they're so good. It has no lyrics.
Sure.
But it's an experience to listen to.
Interesting. Oh, see, and I love that. When I take psychedelics, I don't like music with words. So I'm going to check that out.
Animals as Leaders, it's
cool.
They have some rougher songs, but then they have some really calmer songs. It's all based on like polyrhythms and stuff. And it's just like...
Okay.
And they don't have any bass. That's the thing. It's all 8-string guitars.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. And so that the 8s have the deeper notes if they want to play with them, but it's not specifically tied to the
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's 2 guitarists and 1 drummer, and it's such an amazing... And the lead guitarist, Tosin Abasi, makes his own guitars, too. He has a guitar brand.
Whoa.
Abasi Concepts.
Okay.
And it's just... Whoa. It's just... It's like... you know Polyphia, right?
Oh, yeah.
Imagine Polyphia if Polyphia was like... If they stayed to their metal roots.
Ooh. Okay, cool. Interesting. Yeah, because a lot of Polyphia stuff that had come out before I really liked. And even the newer stuff, I mean, just amazingly talented musician. But you can see how it's become a little more, well, not poppy, but like more softer and a little more.
Definitely, yeah. It's like, and they've been doing more collabs and stuff, which I think was really cool.
For sure.
And it's just, it's nice to listen to. I feel like Polyphia is one of those bands where people say that there's no emotion to it.
Right.
Which is true in a sense, but... There's always going to be emotion when someone's playing the instrument.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I saw something they did Polyphia, and I think it was like Yngwie Malmsteen was on it. And and he's just a guy that literally he would go. His concerts were just him shredding on a guitar for an hour, just sitting at a stool just for an hour, right? Yeah. So it's like, oh, this makes sense with that level of skill. But you want to do something with music. There's like talent and skill, and then there's like the actual musicianship of creating a piece of art.
Yeah. Like that, and that's one of the things that I really like about Midwest emo and stuff. It's technical, but there's emotion to it.
Absolutely,
like tons of emotion.
Yeah, and that's what I love about that type of music in general. I mean, it's called emo, right? It's bound to be emotional. Yeah, exactly. It's giving you something. It's creating a feeling, and like one of my favorite bands of all time is La Quiete. They're an Italian Screamo band. I have no idea what they're saying at all, but I'm just like, I feel it. I love it, and I feel it.
There's this one band that's from Italy as well, and they're a Midwest emo band, Stegosaura.
Oh, Stegosaura. I've never heard of them.
They're good. They're a newer band, and they kind of mix, like, not chiptune, but it's really poppy Midwest emo. It's really good.
Interesting, Stegosaura. All right, cool. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like, I love the whole emo scene and stuff. Like, I feel like with emo, there's so many different kinds that you're gonna be bound to find something you like.
That's and I truly believe that, like, if you were to take someone and they were to say, I like Lady Gaga, there's a path to get from Lady Gaga to like a new progressive Screamo emo hardcore band.
Exactly.
It's just a musical path of finding, well, what do you like here? What do you like there? How do you like that? How do you get into it? And there's a path. I mean, my music taste changed as everybody else's do, or I would hope, if they're trying to explore.
Yeah, like with my sibling, they're really into like Lemon Demon, Jack Stauber, bands like that. And so I was like, okay, I can tell you're into kind of more electronic stuff. It was a bit of a jump, but I introduced them to Harsh Noise, and they loved it.
Cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like, talent and communication and artistry will communicate regardless. It'll be something you can hear. And, like, that's the thing. It's like, I can listen to stuff that's, like, catchy pop, and it's like, okay, I understand how this is very formulaic, but you can also listen to a voice and listen to a music and say, this is created well, this is done well. I can appreciate those pieces of it, not necessarily like it. And I think all music will communicate in that way.
Yeah, like there's, and I feel like just like with the amount of different kinds of music there's out there, they all have their own little ways of communicating to you.
Right.
It's like I will listen to like Holy Grind or Arch Agathis, and like they want to get across these political issues.
Yeah.
And then I can listen to like just one like cuddlecore band. They have the same exact kind of vibe, but very soft or twee pop kind of mix of hardcore.
Interesting. Okay. Cuddlecore. I've never heard of that.
I never heard of it either until like last year.
Is that like Japanese style like hardcore music?
It's actually like very, very much like 60s twee pop influence.
Whoa. Okay.
It's just like twee pop, pretty much talking about political issues almost in a way.
Interesting. That's so cool. And I wonder, like, who gets to name like different types of music in that way, right? Like,
it's either depends. Like, it's either the critics or the artists will get there quick enough and be able to name it themselves. Like,
yeah.
Like Agathali's, they got Mincecore going, and everything's rocking with that. The whole Mincecore revival going on.
Okay. I've never even heard of Mincecore either. That's amazing.
It's like, you know what gore grind is, right?
Sure.
It's like gore grind, but at that point, people who were actually in the grindcore scene originally got pissed because it was like, oh, they're taking the political aspect out. And so they pretty much took gore grind, slowed it down just a wee bit so it's more bouncy.
Sure.
And introduced all the political themes back. So it has like the gore grind, like low, like gurgles and stuff, but it has like the like extreme noise, terror, and all that influence back.
Interesting. Oh man, I'm about to go down a rabbit hole of new music. That's awesome.
Yeah, I feel like one site that helps me a lot to discover new music is Rate Your Music.
Okay, I was just gonna ask where should I go. So Rate Your Music.
It's a website, and there's a whole thing with genres. And if you just go down it, you'll find a bunch of different genres. Click on the genre. There's even more to this, with even more micro genres.
Sure, I bet.
It's like you just go down a rabbit hole and you find all this interesting stuff.
Exactly, right? And people that are like categorizing and creating in that way. So is Rate Your Music kind of where people just upload their stuff? Like, SoundCloud was a thing for
it's not really you don't upload your music to it. It's more like you rate the music, or you make comments on it, you make a list for people to find. And sure, you can upload music in a way where you can put your artist on there so then people can discover it. Sure. But they won't be able to listen to it on that platform.
I see. Where's a good platform, would you say, to host your music then? Like, once your band starts putting stuff together, where would you put it to
I guess it depends what you're really trying to do.
Yeah.
I feel like with me and my projects, I've always used Spotify. I've always used DistroKid to do Spotify. It's only a yearly payment.
Okay.
And it gets you on all platforms. But I guess if you don't have that, I feel like Bandcamp would always be a good option.
Bandcamp, yeah, that's right. Okay.
And I feel like I've discovered a lot during like when I was on Bandcamp and stuff. Sure. Like I still go on Bandcamp to find new stuff whenever I'm bored.
Right. Yeah, that's it. You're right. It's a great place for exactly that.
And then you can find, and some artists, like big artists too, like Flowers Tape Depends and stuff, you can go on Bandcamp and they have stuff you don't see on Spotify and stuff.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, because you're right. Because Spotify will say, well, if we're not licensing it in a certain way, we're not going to do it. If it's given away, like we have to have some sort of control over the media in order to produce it. So like places like Bandcamp, where it's just like we're just putting our stuff up here. It's just out there for people to check out.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's super cool. Yeah. Is this your first band? Have you been in other bands before?
My first band was kind of a train wreck, and then I had a solo project called Auric.
Okay.
And I had to, sadly, all my stuff got deleted because with DistroKid, you have to do a certain thing. You have to pay extra for it to stay on Spotify. If you deactivate your account, which I did.
Oh no, yeah.
So there is one thing that was released by a label that's still up.
Okay.
But that band had too many lineup changes. At some point, it was a solo project, but it was just like it was too much.
Sure. I can understand that.
My current band is definitely probably my most successful, and we're able to have consistent practice. We're able to really talk about what we want in our songs.
Nice, that's awesome. It's a process. I never did anything major. Like I was a drummer in a band, like a local thing. So we never really did much. We honestly spent most of the time coming up with a band name and not even music.
What was the band name?
We didn't come up with it. We had a ton of different ones. Yeah. So it was just like one of those, like we never settled on it. And I was like, this isn't what it's about. Like we're supposed to be playing stuff and doing stuff, not like discussing our look, right? Like that's after you have a catalog of music, in my opinion.
Yeah, like I have like a list of band names for when I need them.
Because that's what me and my buddy would do. like in middle school, we would just hang out and come up with different funny names for bands, right?
Yeah, like my favorite one I've ever come up with, which was actually going to be one of the band names for my current band, but we were like, okay, that one doesn't really match what we're doing. It was Sisyphus is Dead.
Oh, Sisyphus is Dead. That's fun. Okay.
And I was like, oh, that's perfect. It's like, it has philosophy, it has actual like mythology behind it.
Yeah.
It's a whole hodgepodge of like so many different stuff, and it works so well.
That's true. And isn't that what Sisyphus's punishment was in death? Was it to roll a hill up the hill for all eternity? But it was because he was dead already, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's cool. There's got to be like a hardcore Screamo band name generator out there somewhere, right? Where it
Probably
just throws a dictionary together and it'll just give you something like kitchen sink swamp kids or something.
Oh, definitely. Like I said, one of my friends was a band called well, not a band, it's a solo project, but I spent 6 hours watching shock videos yesterday, and then Your Arms Are My Cocoon's another good one, and there's a bunch I can name off.
Oh my gosh, that's great. That's very funny. All right, I might have to start doing something like just come up with those funny names.
Yeah.
Because they can be really interesting.
Yeah. And then like there's bands that kind of mimic Midwest emo in a way. Like there's Mom Jeans, which some people argue is Midwest emo. I don't think it is personally, but their song names they're there.
Sure. Okay. They're just like fun, weird, and a little goofy.
Yeah, like Edward 40 Hands. That's one of them.
It's like I used to play that. Okay.
It's
Have you
great.
ever played it? Are you familiar with the game?
I played the song before, and it's a decent song. Like I've never played it on guitar, but I've heard it.
Yeah, the game Edward 40 Hands.
Oh, that's a game.
You take 2 40 ounces and you tape them ice cold. Tape them to your hands, so you have to drink them as fast.
Oh, that's a game. Yeah. Oh, I just thought it was a funny reference.
Just a funny reference. Yeah, that's actually like a Midwest college game. Actually,
that's probably why they named it that.
Yeah, that's really funny. Yeah,
I never knew that.
So you're from this area originally then?
I'm from, I lived in Chicago for a bit, but then I moved to Des Plaines, Morris, back to Des Plaines, and now I'm here.
Gotcha.
Des Plaines.
It's very quiet out here. I live in the city, so I really like being, like I'm right by the lake. I really like it.
Yeah.
Where do you go for like venues? Where are some good places to see like some venues around here?
There's this one venue group. Okay. And I think you'd love it, by the way. Okay. It's Punk Rock Tacos. And it started off in this Mexican restaurant. I was there on the 11th show.
Sure. And
it was great. And they've had bands like, they've had major Chicago bands. They had The Queers played the other night.
Okay.
And now they're doing shows at like Cobra Lounge, Shannon's Deli, Valhalla. And it's become not just one venue, it's become multiple venues. It's become an event pretty much. And they started their own record label too.
Wow, that's awesome. Just organically grew it that way, huh?
Yeah, and so if you're totally checking out music, they've had emo bands play, they've had indie, they had this one like twee pop influenced hardcore band. They do grindcore, hardcore, power violence, they do all the different stuff. As long as your band's good, like you can play there. It's great.
Nice. And where are they? Are they somewhere out here?
The nearest one I'd say is probably in Villa Park.
Villa Park. Okay.
So it's not far, but it's not. There's also one in Valhalla. I don't know how far that is, and there's one in Shannon's Deli, which I feel like is pretty decent.
Sure. Yeah, I love when venues like that happen. There's like, oftentimes, especially with like music that's not as mainstream, it's going to be in an odd place, and that's what I love about it, where people just find a place to have a venue. You kind of have to do the same thing with stand-up comedy, where you're just like, hey, this is a bar. We'll just put something there, and we'll call it a stage, and just let me like disappoint people for 10 to 15 minutes.
It works though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just you just gotta get it out there. All things is creating the fan base at the end of the day. Finding people that this resonates with, and then those are your people. Those are just people that go with you with whatever you're doing usually.
Yeah. I love music, man. It's like, it just brings people together, and that's the nice thing about it.
Absolutely. And it has been, I was just listening to, they found a bone of a deer that had holes drilled into it to make a flute. And that flute can play modern music now because it's all on the same pitch. It's all the same key of C for most major music.
Wow.
And this flute is, I think, 14,000 years old.
That's crazy.
Right? Music is inherent to who we are.
Yeah. It's just crazy, man. It's crazy how we went from like just coming up with like sticks and stones. Now we have like synthesizers and all that.
Yeah, right. Like you look at like how many instruments we make from like trees, we made from the skin of deers, we made from like like drums. That's a, like all that stuff. It's so interesting because it's just like the person we are. Like we make noise on stuff until we go, hey, I like that. I'm gonna do it again. Okay, I'm gonna find a way to keep replicating this until it turns into instrument, turns into things that we're doing, turns into a song, and then we impress the people that we're trying to impress with them, and hopefully that works out great too. So that's all been part of it. Artistry, creativity.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have TV. What the hell else were we gonna do but make noise?
Exactly. Yeah.
Looks like you're right here.
I believe so. I hope they know I'm here.
Yep. All right. It was great chatting. Hope you have a great rest of your day.
Totally check out Punk Rock Tacos. And
I'm absolutely going to. Yeah.
And rate your music, definitely. That's great.
Those are the two. All right. I'm gonna check them out. Thank you so much.
No problem. Have a nice day.
You too. Thanks.
Sorry, I didn't close it all
It's
the
all
way.
right.